Hello and welcome to the 45th Isometria Devlog. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk to you about some new treasure rooms that I've added to the overworld, where the player will be able to find new items for the beginning of the game. I've also added damage tiers to tools as well as the entities and objects into the game world, preventing some lower level items from being used to gather higher level resources. I've also added a plethora of new items to the game. I've gone ahead and added some new quality of life UI buttons, specifically for inventory and chest management. And finally, I've added some new enemies that the player will encounter on their adventures. Let's get started. Tools now have a tool tier associated with them, along with tool damage that is different from their melee damage. Using a tool that is too low of a tier will result in some objects not being able to be harvested by that tool. So get out there and upgrade your tools. Throughout the overworld, I've added these abandoned, rundown treasure areas that the player will find and be able to loot some early game items. The items that they find will be specific to the overworld versus any of the underworld levels, and it gives the player something to do while exploring the overworld. I've added some new inventory buttons for quality of life purposes, such as the sort inventory button that will sort the inventory. I've also added a quick stack to nearby chests button that will place any items in the inventory into any chest nearby the player with a matching item. Furthermore, the smart deposit will only deposit to that particular chest that the player has open. As well, there is a deposit all and loot all button. They work quite nicely. Other improvements to the UI include a randomize seed button that when pressed will generate a random number for the world seed when creating a world. New trinkets added this week include the whetstone, the beginner's quiver, and the pondering orb, which all wizards are required to have, as it grants bonus power and magic damage. As well, the quiver will give you bonus range damage and some stamina, and the whetstone will give you health and melee damage. Other new items include the stone path floor, which is a nice looking walkway. It adds that nice road look to your settlements and is easily creatable with stone. Another much needed item was the wood block. It's just a giant block of wood. It can be used to create some nice looking wood walls. Another new trinket in the game is the organism detector, which gives a little bit of health bonus. As well, it grants the organism detection buff, which will list the number of nearby enemies, critters, and friendlies. Enemies will now drop coins as well, although the player can still not spend them on anything. But later on, I plan to add a merchant, which the player will be able to buy and trade items to. A new set of purple and red blobs have been added to the game. As well, the blobs have been moved to various biomes throughout the overworld. Instead of spawning the blobs based on the player's level, they will just spawn based on the biome. In fact, all enemies in the game will now just spawn automatically if the player is in that biome, regardless of the player's level or the unit's level. So be careful out there. A new type of enemy has been added to the Tundra overworld. It's called the Sentinel, and there is a blue, red, and green version, and they shoot lasers at the player. That's it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed the changes. Stay tuned for more in the future, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Also, be sure to join our Discord. It's getting bigger every day. Till next time.